Namaste, welcome to the Advaita channel by the Sangha of Being. I'll be reading from Rupert Spira, Transparency of Things. Very happy to have you here. Sadhguru Sri Mujijiki Jai. Sadhguru Sri Anantajiki Jai. Sangajiki Jai. So I always read the back summary for anyone that might be joining that's new or watching this back that doesn't have an understanding of this. The purpose of Rupert Spira's book is to look clearly and simply at the nature of experience without any attempt to change it. A series of contemplations leads us gently but directly to see that our essential nature is neither a body nor a mind. It is the conscious presence that is aware of this current experience. As such, it is nothing that can be experienced as an object, and yet it is undeniably present. However, these contemplations go much further than this. As we take our stand knowingly as this conscious presence that we always already are, and reconsider the objects of the body, mind, and world, we find that they do not simply appear to this presence, they appear within it. And further exploration reveals that they do not simply appear within this presence, but as this presence. Finally, we're led to see that it is in fact this very presence itself that takes the shape of our experience from moment to moment, whilst always remaining only itself. We see that our experience is and has only ever been one seamless totality, with no separate entities, objects, or parts anywhere to be found. Welcome, Stacey. Welcome, Amaya. Just let me know if there's any problems with the sound. It'd be good if you could just let me know if you can hear and the volume's okay. Thank you for saying the sound's good. That's good. So what we do, I'll read through a section which comes to a natural break, and then there'll be some silence, so we can allow that what's been spoken to digest, or just to rest in this if you haven't necessarily followed the words. What's more important is that you'll rest in this experience of what's been pointed to. And then there may be some spontaneous sharing, if that's intuitively what comes up. But if there isn't any words other than these, then it's not a problem. Rupert speaks very, very clearly. and directly. Many teachings tell us that there is nothing one can do to reach enlightenment. It would be disingenuous to believe that there is nothing to do, that consciousness is all there is, that there is no separate entity, simply because we have heard or read it so many times. Such a belief leaves us worse off than we were in the first place. Not only do we still harbour the original belief in separation and its attendant feelings, but we overlay it with a veneer of non-dualism, embedded in which is the deep belief that the mind only perpetuates ignorance. If we make the statement that there is nothing that we can do to reach enlightenment, we make it either from understanding, from our own experience, or we make it from hearsay, from belief. If the statement is made from experience, then it is true. However, if it is not our experience that there is nothing to do to reach enlightenment, then by definition it implies that there is still an apparent personal entity present. That personal entity is the apparent doer, feeler, thinker, enjoyer, sufferer, etc. So if we believe ourselves to be such a doer, it is disingenuous to say that there is nothing to do. It is a contradiction in terms. We are already doing something. To that apparent one, it would be more appropriate to say, yes, there is something to be done. What is there to be done? Investigate the belief and the feeling as to whether or not what we truly are is a separate entity, an individual doer. When that issue is resolved, the question as to whether or not there is something to be done will not arise. So the formulation, there is nothing to do, and the formulation, there is something to do, can both be either true or untrue, depending on the understanding from which they are derived. In the end, both are irrelevant, but in the beginning, both can be helpful. If we think that either one is truer than the other, then we're stuck at the level of mind. We condone and substantiate mind either through denial or through assertion, and there's not much to choose between these two positions. In fact, they are the same position. However, if we explore the relative truth of both statements, we free ourselves from the dogma attached to either position, and in this case, the issue is transcended in understanding rather than resolved in knowledge. Hey, Shivani. It's okay to unmute whenever you want and just say hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I just jumped on. I saw the message in the toy shop, so.
Cool. How's your new place?
Good. Yeah. Cozy. Nice and warm. The
Lovely.
heater's going, so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What time is it
Have
there?
you started?
Yeah, started, yeah.
Oh. It's 5:21 in the afternoon.
Mad. It's 8:21 here.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Ah.
So I missed that.
I said I'll mute and I'll let you
Okay.
keep going.
Namaste, Adam. Namaste, Delia. Lovely to have you. Origin, substance, and destiny. Is there a meaning or purpose to life? Meaning and purpose exist in the mind only. In deep sleep, for instance, the mind is not present and no meaning or purpose exists there. That into which the mind subsides when a question about the nature of experience is answered is its meaning. That is the experience of understanding. That into which the body subsides when a desire is fulfilled is its purpose. That is the experience of happiness or love. The experience of understanding and happiness is transparent, luminous, and self-knowing. Transparent in the sense that it is a non-objective experience. Luminous in the sense that it is present, alive, and experienced. Self-knowing in the sense that it is known, not by any outside agent, but by itself. It is the knowing of itself. This experience of understanding and happiness is the experience of consciousness, knowing itself knowingly. That into which the mind and body subside is consciousness. And consciousness is present, not just when the mind and body dissolve, but prior to and during their appearance. Therefore, the true meaning and purpose of life is consciousness itself. And consciousness is also its origin and substance. It is the origin and substance of all appearances, as well as their destiny. However, consciousness is also that into which all appearances dissolve, and in that sense it is also their natural fulfillment. However, it is not the fulfillment or destiny of appearances in the sense that they achieve, become, or complete something, because that into which all appearances is resolved is already present before and during the existence of that appearance. In fact, it is already the very substance of every appearance. Every appearance is, at its origin, already that for which it is destined. The meaning and purpose of appearances is in their absence. The meaning and purpose of life is already life itself. The most extraordinary occurrence ever possible has already taken place. It is already present. There is consciousness and there is being. The tiniest speck of dust ultimately reveals only the presence and identity of consciousness and being. What could be more miraculous than that? The most extraordinary miracle would reveal nothing more important than that. There is only consciousness, being. This is known as I, and also as happiness, love, peace, beauty, and understanding. What more meaning and purpose than that could there possibly be? You know, real understanding of this comes not through believing in the words, and this is what was being said in the section before about true understanding. It's not enough just to believe that these words are true. I think through the experiences of others, the conviction, the trust and conviction can come only in the sense that it can bring us to a commitment to explore our own experience. So to say to somebody that the substance of everything is this consciousness, if there isn't an openness or a willingness to really look and examine the unquestioned conditioned beliefs that we've been taught from through media, through parents, school. There'd be no real understanding of that. If there isn't that willingness and openness to looking, really looking right now at what that might mean in our own experience. So some questions are really questions that we ask ourselves and inquire are really helpful, can be helpful to bring us to that understanding of the beliefs that we might have held about what we actually are. Can be very strong and they can make us still feel, even though we might want to believe or trust that what other people are telling us is true. Or we might have an intellectual understanding, then beliefs can still condition this felt experience of being a separate body, mind. So to say that consciousness is already the very substance of every appearance. It would be difficult for a mind to grasp. But if we look from experience and just try, perhaps find an appearance, and we're not maybe just talking about a visual appearance or a sound, an audible experience or perception, or a thought. All these are appearances. And you can ask, do you find any appearance? Has anyone ever found an appearance without there being consciousness? And as Ananta was saying, the importance of clarity of terms, I know that there are different terms that are used. Sometimes to mean the same thing. So I think Rupert tends to use consciousness, awareness, experiencing, knowing, all to mean the same thing. So if we just take all the appearances that might be taking place now, can we find a distinction really between that which is knowing, awareness, and the appearance itself? And if we can't find any appearance other than, if we can't find appearances separate from the knowing of them, or from this consciousness, or from this awareness, how do we know that it has a substance other than any other substance other than that consciousness? So this is the nature of inquiry. It's looking at what is absolutely true about experience, not making assumptions. and it's never been found here. That there's any appearance or experience separate from this consciousness. It's been believed, and conventionally that belief is there, but an experience, in direct experience, there is no appearance separate from this. And that is the experience. And it couldn't be any other way. So the patterns of, when that's seen, the patterns of seeking some object, resisting someone or something, tend to subside. But even in that still continues to play. But the belief that the seeking and the resistance actually means anything other than coming to the realization that what you're looking for is already here. In the experience of consciousness knowing itself. And that's what seems to be really the object of all seeking, is to come to this sense of rest. Thanks, Shivani. Shivani had to go. Hello, Delia. I don't know if you're still here. There's a few people still watching. Love in search of itself. What is the value and function of spiritual seeking? The purpose of seeking at the level of the body is to bring about happiness. And at the level of the mind, to bring about understanding. Inherent in seeking, therefore, is the feeling and the belief that happiness and understanding are not already present, and that they can be brought about through the search. In other words, happiness and understanding are construed as intermittent states that can be attained at some future time as a result of an activity, and by implication that can be lost. When a desire is fulfilled, happiness is experienced. When a question is answered, understanding is revealed. We presume that it was the fulfillment of the desire that produced the happiness, and the answering of the question that brought about the understanding. However, it is the end of the desire, not its fulfillment, which reveals the underlying, ever-present happiness. And it is the dissolution of the question, rather than its answer, that reveals the understanding that lies behind the mind's activity. Desire at the level of the body and seeking at the level of the mind are in most cases forms of agitation. They are modulations of a sense of lack, a sense that something is not right, that something needs to be secured or known. This agitation is an activity within consciousness and is an expression of consciousness. Everything, literally everything takes place within consciousness and is an expression of it. This agitation could be described as the activity whereby consciousness colours itself in such a way that it seems to obscure itself from itself. The result is the thought and feeling that something is missing. It is as if consciousness was saying to itself, I am not present, I am not experiencing myself, I do not know myself. However, this very thought appears in consciousness and is itself an expression of consciousness. That something that is supposed to be missing is consciousness itself. The I that is experiencing the feeling, I am not experiencing myself, and the I that is thinking the thought, I do not know myself, is already that one that seems not to be experienced or known. Although consciousness is in fact always only ever experiencing itself, it veils itself from itself and therefore feels that it is not present. in fact, consciousness is still only experiencing itself, even during the appearance of the feeling that something is missing. That very feeling is itself still the experience of consciousness knowing itself. However, consciousness does not know this, so to speak. It disguises itself, it veils itself, and hence the search for itself begins. It's beautiful. Delia's just shared, I'm still here. In the knowing of nothingness, everything exists. So in the beginning of that section, Rupert was talking about the agitation and seeking. It's this idea that, I guess, for many people involved in some spiritual search, is that I, this body, mind, am here and need to get there where that teacher or guru or person is. And then I'll be at peace. And it's not, I guess, in its nature, not much different from the material search, which says once I acquire this house, this car, a family with 2 children, the yacht, successful business, then I can be at rest. But it's always a short-lived rest, because it's rest in the sense of this idea of me having achieved or attained what it needs. So it's the idea of me that comes to rest. Just a simple idea. Until the idea comes up again that I need something else. I need a new teacher. Haven't quite got the understanding yet. But like it says here, consciousness is its own fulfillment. But in the constant overlooking of consciousness itself, because of this idea that I've not quite got there yet, I just need some concept to be properly understood, then I'll finally be at peace or free, is what's in the way. Or what's seemingly in the way, because even in that concept or thought, even in sort of this sense that consciousness is bailing itself, which you can't really do because it's all there is, it's there, that peace is there. The openness. That's the idea of me needing to get somewhere, acquire some knowledge, spiritual knowledge, acquire some object. Seems to veil us from the peace that's already here, in the natural resting of this consciousness. And it kind of starts at the very beginning of meditation. Like I need to, I remember when I first started meditating, I need to clear my mind, all this mental agitation, mental chatter is getting in the way of my peace. There's still strongly this idea of a me that needs to meditate and clear my mind or quiet my mind. So there's still this sense of a me needing to quiet my mind. Which was getting in the way of what was already there, or seemed to get in the way of what was already there. Which is a result of this body and mind identification that consciousness is limited, contained within this, the appearance of this. The visual appearance of bodies is here just the same as visual appearance of sky takes place within this consciousness. The same with the visual appearance of this, what would be labelled laptop, appears within consciousness. It can't ever be found separate from consciousness. Be 5 minutes. Okay. So if we just be aware now, aware that we're aware. aware of do we find a thing called the body? Or do we just find sensation? Well, it looks as though my battery's running out, so I think I have to end the broadcast. It's been lovely to have you here. Thanks for all those that have joined via YouTube.